We are live once again, folks. It's episode 39. You heard me right. I said 39. Tuesday again. Time for another comic conversation. I'm looking forward to this. We got some really great things to talk about tonight. I'm looking forward to it. We have our usual panel here of folks, minus one, who will be with us a little bit later. And you can see in the list and the promo some of the stuff we're going to talk about. So I'm looking forward to getting into some of that. But before we do, actually, let's do the catch up first. So you want to jump right into that, Chris, and tell us what you've been up to since last Tuesday?
Yep. Just kind of same old stuff for the most part. Everything going on with the baby. She's doing good. Just taking care of her work. I did pick up haul last week. Actually, I have to do a video for my last 2 weeks for my haul, just because with everything going on with the baby and everything, I haven't had enough time to get in and do a video. So I'll be doing that soon. And then also I got one of my top 10 books in the mail, so I have to unbox that for you guys as well. So I have I have a bunch of stuff that's I have a bunch of stuff that I gotta do, and it's just it's just really fun, and it's gonna be fun to get back into it again. But yeah, just for me, working, taking care of the baby, and then getting the occasional comic here and there when I can.
Right, nice. I would give you applause, but Google freaking Hangouts took away our little fun buttons that we have to play with. So no more applause, no more scuba gear, no more like beach backgrounds,
no more monocles.
No more monocles, no more mustaches or whatever else. You got to grow one if you want one on the show. Can't just apply it there.
I feel like they cut the funding to us. It's just like so. I feel like it's just like the lights are going dim on us.
Right. They're like
going nowhere. But
that sheep, the crook thing's coming slowly for us next.
Like the server that housed those features is now being put to use doing something else. Like, it's not worth it for them.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. All right, Justin. What have you been up to, man?
Comic books. No, I was able to grab, during my Sunday morning show that I had episode 2 of this week. That was really awesome. I appreciate everybody checking that out. But I got X Factor 5 and 6 from Jose. Those came in. Yeah, I was super happy to that. Pretty much finishes my original volume of X Factor. So I was pretty pumped to have those. And then I have to show this because I think it's so cool. I got the Secret Wars Thor bobble or Funko. So the Jane Foster
cool.
one.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. So I mean,
where'd you pick that up? At the shop, or was it like something?
No. It was at eBay. It was eBay for $10.50 shipped.
Nice,
that's like going to Walgreens and getting one.
That's actually less than Walgreens.
Yeah, really. Once you can't count tax and everything, yeah, I think Walgreens, yeah. But yeah, so I was like, click. That's Comically Flawed's fault. He showed me that link, and I was like, crap, gotta buy it.
Comically Flawed's being an enabler again, isn't he?
He is. Mean guy.
We like that around here.
But yeah, normal stuff. Just reading a whole bunch of comics this week. Woo!
Sweet. All right, cool. So I haven't been up to a whole hell of a lot. Typical buying books. Sold a couple books. Bought a few more books. Typical. So that's it. That's my update. That's all you're getting. But I did hit 800 subs, so that's a big milestone for me. So I'm happy for that. That much closer to 1,000. And then the other thing, woohoo, that I wanted to mention was it's 39 here. So he says, Comically Flawed says he'll help spend anyone's money. So, but I went back and I was looking at the show. I was like, we've been on doing this for quite some time now. It's been it's been a while. It's been since last summer, and I remember doing it last spring. So it's got to have been about a year. But the thing only said 31 or 32 episodes. I'm like, that doesn't sound right?
Because we took our break.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did take a month off, I think it was, or a month and a half, and then a week off here and there. But it should have been closer to the 52, which is a year, right? So I went back and actually I did a couple episodes before we all got together. I have 5 of them, in fact, and that was on April 24th of 2016. So that I decided to roll into the numbering for the current show, which brought us up to the 39. And that also makes our 1-year anniversary having been April 24th.
Ooh.
Right? So we actually started together as a panel. It was in July of last year. So we're close to that. But if we take that April 24th, the show, Comic Conversation, has hit the 1-year mark. So I think that's a big milestone. Congrats. And thanks for everybody, for you guys. And also for the people in the chat being here too, which is awesome because a lot of you guys have put up with us for that long too. So
yeah,
that was pretty awesome. Yeah, so 1 year, that's pretty awesome. I think we might do something for when we hit the big 50. That's a cool number that we can enough time to plan ahead to do something. So stay tuned for that, folks. Might be we'll talk about it. I don't want to say anything.
Leave us your comments.
That's right.
Let us know what we should do for 50.
Yeah. What do you want us to do when we hit episode 50? They're gonna say free stuff. I know it.
Free stuff. No, we want Edwin's got to dance.
Edwin's got to. Okay.
Everybody, when Edwin gets here, that's what y'all got to say. Edwin, you got to dance for 50.
That's right. Oh man. Okay. So that was the announcements that I wanted to make. So, yeah. So, okay, so let's jump into it. So the first thing was actually for Logan. It's going to be back in theaters, the movie Logan, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for one night only. It's May 16th. It's a black and white. They're calling it a noir, sort of version of it. And unfortunately, it's only in select theaters, and a lot of them have to do with the Alamo Drafthouse.
Mm-hmm.
If you go online, there's some websites that list out some of them. There's a whole crap ton of them in Texas. So maybe Edwin will be lucky. There's one in Virginia, for example. I don't see any in Georgia. And I don't see any in Mass or Florida, so we're screwed. But if anybody listening or watching is in, LA, San Francisco, Omaha, Brooklyn, places like that, you'll be able to check it out. It's one night only. But if you can't see it in the theater, don't fret, because that same day is the day that the Blu-ray comes out, and it will have that same noir, version available on the Blu-ray, right? So that comes May 16th. You get the 4K for it and everything. You get the audio commentary. Apparently, there's supposed to be some deleted scenes also on the Blu-ray. So definitely should be something pretty cool there to check out. And I know one of my gauges with movies is not always because I do like the reviews and it'll be blah, blah, blah to 10, right? Mm-hmm. That's telling, of course. But for me personally, one of the things that's telling is how quickly do I go out and get the Blu-ray? You know what I mean? Am I there that first day? Shit, I got to get this, or is it I'll wait till next week or next payday? You know what I mean? So with a movie like this, I want to freaking get there and see if I get the steelbook or whatever it is. But I'm definitely marking May 16th on my calendar.
Yeah.
So,
it's really cool that they're doing that, because when you said the Blu-ray comes out, and most movies you just sit back and be like, okay, well, I'll get it when I get it, no problem. Mm-hmm. But what they're doing with that, putting that black and white version on in with that same package, is kind of like what they used to do a few years back when you would get a director's cut, or if you would get when they used to do the DVD the DVD with extras, or DVD box sets and stuff, where you were getting something a little bit special along with it. So I think getting both versions is a really, really awesome thing to do. So I mean the question of, do you go and get it that same day, or do you wait a little bit? It's a hard one, because it really does. Is that going to be the just official regular DVD release, or is that a special DVD release? Because if it's a limited edition type deal, then you might have to go get that right away.
Yeah.
So, but the black and white edition will not be on the Blu-ray, right?
It will be.
It will.
Noir, black and white / noir is what they're calling
it.
Yeah, and from the verbiage that I read, It sounds like it will be on all the copies.
Okay, good.
Right, so I
Yeah.
don't think it'll be
So,
like a...
so the viewing in a theater would be a bonus.
Yeah.
Right.
You have a nice theater set up at home. There's no point.
You know, the only thing that could make that a little bit like because I look at it with a black and white like that, like just a noir. I would really hope that they would change the setup a little bit. Like if they had like, because I saw, I mean, I've seen, you know, the still images of it, and it reminds me, it's very Tarantino-esque, you know, really cool looking. So if they had like just that kind of like spaghetti western soundtrack to go under it, that would be perfect for that movie. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna make it noir, you gotta change it up just to make it like have that feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it touched on like Shane, for example, one of the westerns from the 50s, really iconic, you know, classic, and that whole, you know, spaghetti western sort of genre. And a lot of those were black and white.
Yep.
So it's not just like, you know, they just decided to just remove the color for whatever random reason. It really fits with stylistically and you know, kind of the approach that they were going for with it. So I think it'll be a huge addition to it. They've done it with some other movies. Completely recently, but I remember there was a couple superhero movies that were black and white. What the hell was it? There was something like a couple years ago. I don't know. If anybody can remember.
But Logan, yeah, you could definitely see it as a western, even from the landscape that they shot in. You know, even in most westerns, you're going to have a couple scenes that start in a city or they pass through a town or something like that. But then for the most of it, they're in just like vast open wilderness.
Yep.
You know? So
I think it's the way that they shot it too. I mean, like, you can tell that they had that in mind because, I mean, when you put it in that black, I mean, the fight scenes for the most part are that tight, close quarters, you know, type of thing that you get in a lot of westerns where it's just like, or a lot of those. That's why I say it's very Tarantino-esque, where it's just like, you know, there's a lot of close quarters fighting, and there's a lot of stuff that kind of makes it seem as though, you know, just the shots of like over shoulder and like you know, big, you know, face shots, and this is just, you know, really done well. So you know, I really do feel like they had that in mind initially when they were filming it, you know, in color. So I think that it's gonna be pretty cool, you know, to be able to see it like that. I do regret not being able to see it in theaters that way, because I think in theaters it would be pretty sick, but you know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. AG Surfer said Sin City. Was that what you're talking about, Jesse?
City.
That was in black and
the
white.
Spirit. And the Spirit.
That's not the one I'm thinking of, though. I'm actually trying to Google it real quick here.
They also did the Spirit, which was basically Sin City-esque in its appearance.
Yeah.
What was
It's
the other
going to
one?
come to me at a random time. So.
Black and white superhero movie. Hawk, no.
Hawk, no?
No.
Yeah.
Thought I had something for a second, but no.
All right. So let's move on. Oh, actually, kind of tied to that was an interesting thing that came out from Liev Scrieber, who played Creed, right? Sabretooth.
Yep.
According to him, one of the earlier versions of Logan, they approached him to reprise his role as Sabretooth for the movie. So I thought that was pretty cool. And kind of that whole, we were talking about it before the movie came out and right after when we kind of did our group review on it. You know, they had X-24, which was like, I can talk about now, right?
Yeah.
Him. And I always thought well, not always, but since the movie, I thought, well, that would have been cool if instead of him, they used X-23. I mean, not X-23, my God. If they use Sabretooth, right? He's another Weapon X guy. And lo and behold, it sounds like they may have been thinking about that at one point as well. So
that would have been better, like an enhanced Sabretooth, you know, that was like mind controlled or something, maybe. Who knows? That would have been a great twist. That
would have been cool. I think one of the reasons they didn't was because they kind of wanted this movie. Yes, it's still in that universe. And yes, it's in some convoluted sort of way part of the timeline. But at the same time, he wanted this movie to be its own movie. Yeah. And yes, have like some ties or nods to things, but not like so overtly that you were like, okay, there's Sabretooth and he was in this movie and he was in that movie. You know what I mean? So I think that was part of the reason, at least, for not having him in it. But nevertheless, it would have been cool to see Sabretooth and Old Man Logan go at it. That would have been badass.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would have been perfect. I mean,
yeah.
When he kills Charles, it's like, all right, let's have it out I killed your mentor. Let's do this. You know what I mean? Like that would have been cool. I mean, just the dynamic of them, because you could have had them just dialogue in the beginning in a small fight, and then just have that just one like just last like just rip to pieces blood and guts battle.
Ramiro Gomez says he threw in a good one for Logan that would have been good to see in a Wolverine movie. Omega Red.
Yeah.
Now I could see them doing that as like a flashback fight and not having him be the end villain in a Logan type movie. But to see that on film would be really, really cool.
Yep. But
I'm still looking up that movie. Sorry.
What was it? Max Payne?
No, it wasn't. I know there was some of those movies that came out around that time that were like that. Like it was black and white, and all you'd see is the blood and stuff, but as red.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one movie that was released as a color movie, and then they did a noir version later.
I'm trying to think. I mean,
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
It would have worked well with the Ben Affleck Daredevil. They could have done that in black and white. That would have worked.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You guys gonna see that this week, right?
Yeah.
Of course you are. Dumb question. Yep. Question is, are you seeing it Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
That's the question, because I don't know. I know for a fact that trying to go Friday night is just impossible. May have to try to do it Thursday. I don't know. See, the hard part is trying to find a babysitter for the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. In an ideal world, I guess probably Saturday morning if I can swing it, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's as tough though. It's a really crowded weekend starting with Thursday. You have, May the 4th, and then you have Revenge of the 5th, which is the next day.
And that's also Cinco de Mayo.
Exactly. And then you have Free Comic Book Day. You have this movie coming out. So you have a whole bunch of stuff like in our world kind of crammed into just a few days. So
yep.
And then Sunday night, Edwin's going to have a live show. So
yeah. And Sunday morning, there's another show too.
I know. Action-packed weekend, man.
That's right.
Like Guardians, though, I want to try to see it on Thursday night. If I can't, I will see it Saturday after going to the shop.
All right.
Make a child sit in the back.
Do what?
No, he was. Ramiro told me to make the child sit in the back. I don't think everyone's gonna appreciate a almost 1-month-old just crying that she's hungry every once in a while.
So a couple people in the chat, and I didn't do the shout-outs yet, so I'm sorry for that, guys. Usually do the shout-outs. AG Surfer, Count Von Strange is here, Ramiro Gomez, Trinity Comics, Comically Flawed is here as well. Got to shout everybody out because I appreciate you guys being here. And I saw Stephen Higgins at some point as well, so shout out to you. So they're saying Ramiro is seeing it either Friday or Saturday. AG said early Friday. Trinity's going Saturday. That would be cool. Like, go to Free Comic Book Day and, get your loot and your swag and then go to the movies,
It seems like the last 3 or 4 years that Marvel has had a movie come out on Free Comic Book Day weekend.
Yeah. It's a sweet spot for them. It really is.
Absolutely. You gotta think how smart that is. Like, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and release this movie. People are gonna see it Friday, and then on top of that, it's just like, even if you had somebody there, like, oh yeah, and it's Free Comic Book Day, free comics. Like, I don't even read comics. I'll go to the store for free. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely a smart idea. I wonder why DC doesn't pick up on that. Or any of the other ones doesn't pick up. Oh, I mean, DC could put out movies around that same time, but it's just one of those things where, what, if you have no competition at the time, keep doing it, because that's the smart way to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
DC could take local comic shop day or whatever that other one is, and
October
or something, whatever.
LCSD.
Yeah.
Is there I mean, we'll probably get to it later, but is there a Guardians book for Free Comic Book Day?
No.
Chris.
Chris.
There are three Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 1s coming out Wednesday.
That's right.
Oh, it's true.
Yep.
So you get
And there is a one of the gold books. Is it one of the gold or one of the silver? Is an all new Guardians book this year too?
Probably gold.
Let me look.
If I had to guess. Trinity says that he's going to a shop. I guess Saturday. They're having a sale where it's fill a long box for $100.
Oh my god!
Crap!
Right, so he's going to split that with one of, or a couple of his buddies. So they'll do, you know, 30, 60, 90, whatever, however they split it.
Yeah.
And then right after that, they'll go see the movie. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, a long one. That's crazy. That's like what, like $100 a piece?
Yeah, close to it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh, that would be it.
I think I'm going to try to go on Thursday. Early release. Somebody said it before. Less people there. Usually, you know, a lot of people don't realize that the movies come out like, you know, midnight or whatever on Thursday night. So, and plus it's a weekday. So you typically don't have as many of the crowd, or like, you know, I get really, now that I'm in my old age, when I go to the movies and there's all these like high school kids around or whatever. And it's just really annoying. They're loud and obnoxious. And I just want to say, get off my lawn, kids.
Oh, and the crowd in general can be bad, just because, I mean, even if you go, like, let's say, you know, Friday night or Saturday, you know, afternoon, you know, you're going to have that mix of kids and, you know, also other fans who are just kind of like, you know, they look at it where it's just, and casual fans as well, who just kind of look at certain things as like, I can just watch this movie. It's fun for me. And, you know, and it's just like, yeah, I want to enjoy the movie too. Like, why are you screaming and laughing? Like, you can laugh at the jokes, just don't, like, you know, like we had one guy that was sitting in front of us and he had like the most just over the top laugh I've ever heard. And he was, I mean, the Jackson Pollock joke was the one that broke him. He's like, whoa! Like, I mean, his laugh was like echoing. It was so loud. I was like, Jesus, guy, please. And then he realized as that, like, after about 5 or 6 people like, dude, shut the fuck up. He was just like he calmed it down, but it was bad. Like, there was a few people that were just like, dude, if you laugh like that one more time, I'm punching you in the face. And I was like, jeez, okay.
Getting rowdy in there.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We dropped the ball.
What?
We dropped the metaphorical ball, not literally. Usually we do the opening weekend predictions, and we didn't do it for this movie.
You know, I think we kind of got into a comfort zone. Like, we got time.
Yeah. So we'll definitely do it for Wonder Woman. But if you guys have been kind of, because I'm such a nerd, I look at all the tracking, the early tracking, and how the movie's doing internationally, you know, the opening weekend and stuff. Last time I checked, it was already at $106 million.
Jesus.
It was for Guardians 1. This is 57% ahead of that. It's 50% bigger already than The Winter Soldier, and 19% above where Thor: The Dark World was for that like international pre-US box office time period. So this movie is a juggernaut. It hasn't even hit all the markets internationally yet. So it's going to be huge. So not that that's any surprise to anybody, but I guess what I can say there is no matter what time you pick or what day, I bet you that theater is going to be nearly full.
Oh, yeah. And that's a testament to the first movie being as good as it was and being as big of a sleeper as it was.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if that spells a little bit of, sophomore jinx, though. Just because, I mean, you got to figure that many people. All right, so everybody knows that the first one was good. Everybody wants to go see this one. If it falls short of expectations, which I know people's expectations are going to be high now. And
it's gonna.
I feel like it's gonna too, but like, you know, the one thing I would tell anybody is just like, just go in and try to enjoy the movie for what it is. Don't go in with super high expectations, because you will be disappointed if you think that it's gonna, be like 5 times better than the last one. Just go in there and enjoy it just like you did the first time. Go in with no real full expectation, because that's how you enjoy the film.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of our theme last time we were talking about, does it suck? And there was such a division with the critics, right? There was some people that absolutely loved it. They say it's like the best, Marvel movie so far. And there were others that are like, it tried to be the first one. It couldn't, same joke, same patterns. People were saying like Gamora is annoying and stuff, But ultimately, like you just said, make your own decision. Go see it. make your own opinion on it. You know, don't rely on these. And it's best with any of these just to not go in with it up on such a pedestal that no matter what, it's going to disappoint you, you know? So just kind of go in there with a level head and just take it in and then assess it at the end. Don't kind of go in there with all these expectations of what it should be or what it shouldn't be. So.
Yep, because when I remember the first one, I had no real full expectation. I was like, we'll see what happens. And then, you know, I was blown away by how good it was. Same thing with, I remember Avengers was the one, the first Avengers movie, I had high hopes for it. And it was just, I mean, because it was so much at once and it was so good, and it was the first time seeing just everything just put out there and just what seemed like the perfect way. I was telling people, like, whatever expectations you have on high, this movie just blew, you know. And it's just like, you know, you look at it now, it's just like, you know, you can watch that movie again nowadays and be like, oh, you know, it was good, but it, you know, probably wasn't as good as the hype was when I first saw it. But it's just like, you gotta also think of, you know, it's like your first time actually seeing these heroes come to life. I mean, really come to life on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that first, I was talking to, I think it was, might have been Hakan, one of my friends, about that Avengers movie, and like that first like epic shot where they were like, you've seen them like all these years, like in the different movies, but you finally got to see all these people in the street like together at once, and that was like, you know, one of those moments that you can't always recreate, you know, with movies. So,
I mean, when they, I mean, even in the beginning, when it's just, you know, when they're all having the misunderstanding, you know, and they're all fighting one another. So it's Thor, Cap, and Iron Man. They're all fighting back and forth over Loki. That was awesome. And then when they finally got into the, you know, when they finally became a team again, and then you see, you know, Banner comes back. He's like, you know what my secret is? I'm always angry. And he just turns into the Hulk, and then Cap starts giving directions. He's like, you know, go over here, go Hulk. Like that was it for me. I was all in. It didn't matter what they could have sat there and just, you know, they could have literally ended the movie right at that point, like to be continued. I'd be like, I'm fine. I'm like, here's my money for the next ticket.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Well, it was one of those like lifelong dream things too. You know, it's like, whoever thought we would realistically see an awesome Avengers movie? You know, like especially if you wrote or if you read Avengers when it was horrible. You know?
Yeah. So actually, a question for you: that same scene with all the Avengers together, like finally, like at once. Compare that for me to what you thought when you finally saw Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman in the same shot in the movie at once.
You know, and maybe it's spoiled comic book fan, you know, thing, but I mean, they had ruined that for me when they showed her in the trailers. I was just like, because had it just been a thing where she just showed up, they would have recreated that moment all over again. Because everybody was like, oh, like, even if I think even having her in the movie, you know, just kind of having her like in as she was. I mean, because you knew who she was right away from the trailer. Even if you didn't see the trailer, you had the you know, you had to just I guess like, oh, that girl's Wonder Woman. She's gonna be Wonder Woman at some point. You can tell. It's just like had she just shown up. And I know some people would be like, well, if she just showed up, that would have been stupid. But like, no, it wouldn't have. It would have been humongous just because you have, you know, DC's 3 biggest players all together in that one moment. That would have been like they missed the boat on that one. They really did. They overplayed their hand in that one.
Yeah, I think that they've learned that at least to some extent because they're really not doing that with Justice League. I think that they're giving us just enough so far that, you know, like. I think we were talking about it when we were comparing Homecoming to Justice League when those trailers came out, like in the same week. Yeah, like Spider-Man: Homecoming. That I feel like I could tell you the whole plot for that movie right now. I feel like that trailer, or the 2 trailers we have, they gave us everything. But with Justice League, we could kind of piece things together, and they haven't revealed quite as much as they have in the past. Even with like Suicide Squad, but that's a whole different story because a lot of that changed. But what my point is that I think that they're learning from their mistakes pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a tough part with DC on that one where it's just like, you know, they do have a tendency to show a lot, sometimes too much. I feel like they did kind of the same thing to an extent with Suicide Squad too, where it's just like you put the trailer out like 8 months before the movie's out. It's just like, so we know the movie's done and finished. We already know it's out. Like, why do you make people wait so long for it to, And that's the only, I guess, criticism for them. I mean, other than, just some of the quality of the movies themselves, that's the only other criticism I have for them, is just like, don't put it out so far ahead, because now everybody builds the expectations and wants the thing to be incredible. And, if it's not quite done in the right way, or if it's rushed, or if they try to do too much like they did in Suicide Squad and introduce too many characters and too many stories and all the rest of it, and it falls short, then, you have people being like, I'll never see this again. And it's just like, I look at it where, I see that being kind of a divisive thing, where a lot of people like will look at different people and be like, oh, like this person's clearly a Marvel person, this one's clearly a DC. And to an extent you have that, but I think that for the most part, a lot of people, will be right down the middle and kind of like both and want to see both movies do well. Like I want to see, as much as I love the Marvel movies and as much as I think they've done those so much better, I would love to see, these DC characters done correctly. Because, I mean, if you do it right, if you can have a Justice League movie that really captures the Justice League and really just that good, I mean, now you got something cooking. Now you get something. Now you have something that you can work with, where there is that competition for both sides to get better. So, I mean, I really do hope that Justice League is good. I hope it's where they right the ship and everything, is really just progressing along, because there's so many good DC characters, both heroes and villains, that I'd love to see on screen.
Yeah, no, I actually hope that they course correct at Wonder Woman. I hope that's where things change around for them. And I know we were just talking about the expectation thing, but I have some pretty high expectations for Wonder Woman. From what I've seen and kind of heard about it, I don't think I'll be disappointed. So, I mean,
yeah, especially the fact that we now know Ares is in it.
Yeah,
I'm pumped about that. Like, I was pretty excited for it before, but now I'm super pumped for it. Super pumped for Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah. All right, cool. So, you guys know who The Miz is?
Oh yeah,
I know you two do.
Of course.
People in the chat, The Miz, Mike Mizanin is his name, right?
Yep.
He originally started on MTV The Real World, New York. The Return.
That's The Return, okay. And now he is a WWE wrestler, very tenured. He's been there for a good 15 years now, at least, right?
I mean, he basically left The Real World and started training with them, and then went back and did those challenge TV stuff for MTV. But
right. Yeah,
he's been with them for a while now.
Yep.
Exactly. He's done a couple movies and stuff, but he was just talking recently, and I forget where I saw this, but he was talking about they were asking him Marvel movies, superhero movies. I'll say DC, so Trinity is not upset with me. Superhero movies are the big thing right now, and he does make movies. So if he was going to make a movie, what type of character would he want to be? And he basically said something to the effect of, I would have wanted to be Deadpool. Ever since he kind of first learned about Deadpool, he thought the character was awesome. See what I did there?
Sorry.
But Ryan Reynolds got the role. He said it did great, but the character that he thinks that he would be a good fit for is Booster Gold.
Yes. His personality would totally fit that.
I could see that, yeah.
And Maurice could be Skeets.
That's right.
That's his wife, if you don't know.
Yeah. So I think that would actually be a pretty good fit. So what do you think, Chris?
I think he'd be a good fit as Booster Gold. I think that especially if they do that whole Blue Beetle, kind of buddy partnership type deal, where it's just they're the guy. I mean, bona fide heroes, but they're also clowns, and and they just joke around and get into trouble. So it's just I think that would be a good role for him. I really do think he would be a good comedy foil for some of the more serious heroes if he was put in that role. So I think that that would work for him, and it would also give him. I mean, as much as everyone looks at wrestling and all that type of stuff, his character is supposed to be I'm from Hollywood. I make movies and this and that. That would give that some juice and credibility.
Right.
So.
But just think about how much that would lighten up the DC cinematic universe. If they had a buddy cop fun comedy, that would be so good. They need to do that to lighten it up.
And that's right now the emotional range of the DC universe is pretty much just brooding and sad, and you know, you're right. They do need to do something that kind of peps it up and like, you know what, this will be our dark stories for a while, but guess what? We got something that's actually kind of funny over here. You might want to check it out.
Exactly.
You know, and yeah, they need to change up the emotional tone of some of these movies because everything can't be all brooding and sad. So, you know, that would be, you know, that's a project that, I mean, he's showing an interest. You know, if you can get another couple, you know, people in there that, you know, maybe better actors or a couple A-listers on the board that are funny, you could actually have a good movie. So, I don't know, DC. The man's interested. Sign him up.
They need a movie action comedy where that, like Ant-Man, right? They went in, take it so seriously. It was funny, different flavor. But I would fear that DC would go in, make a serious movie, and then throw in like some jokes later, like some add-in scenes, you know, like reshoots. And that just wouldn't work.
Yeah, so. I mean, but it could be done. It could be done if, you know, if they would just, you know, I think part of the problem that I think they're addressing now is that you have to have different directors, and if you know, just to have different tones of the movie. You know, Zack Snyder's had his turn, too many turns, and you know, it's time to tell a different type of story. So get somebody in there that can do an action comedy, you know, and just, I mean, like when I think about something like that, I'm thinking like Rush Hour, something that was hilarious, but it had its action moments too, and it could be serious at times. But you know, you need something like that, like something that's just gonna really, you know, make people laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So the next thing we were going to talk about, and you guys can see it if you look at the list of items we're talking about, is that Patty Jenkins, the director for Wonder Woman, is already talking about her plans for Wonder Woman 2. The movie hasn't come out yet. This is kind of typical these days where, you know, it used to be where like you would make a movie depending on how well it would do. Then the studio would decide if they wanted to kind of move ahead with a trilogy or a franchise. But these days it's kind of like a package that they do, right? Like perfect example would be the Avatar movies. Like they're shooting like the next 4, like literally all together at once, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how they do things now. So it's not like unheard of that like Patty would be talking about Wonder Woman.
No, kind of just like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like they, I mean, pretty much, you know, shot one right after the other.
Yeah, exactly. So what she wants to do is kind of like, this was her origin basically, right? This is like back in time, you know,
right?
Not that far back, but you know, a few decades back. So now she wants to bring Wonder Woman up to the present day and kind of have her like mingling like in our now time versus like the time traveling aspect of it that this one's going to be. So I think that will definitely work. A lot of material she can work with there. So she said that she'd like to bring her further along into the future and have a fun, exciting storyline that's its own thing. So that when I hear that, I think, okay, maybe she doesn't want it to tie into all the Snyderverse, or not the Snyderverse, but the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it would be good to kind of distance.
I would like that.
I think that's what DC needs to do. I mean, like DC's biggest problem is that they didn't establish enough characters from the get-go. They just started putting people together and trying to really like link everything up. And it's just like, no, establish these characters, let them be who they are, and then, you know, bring them together. And then, you know what I mean? Just that way we have a relationship with these characters. We know who they are. You know, we can kind of figure that, you know, all right, when you know, Green Lantern meets with you know, Batman for the first time, it's going to go a little bit rocky because they're so different in personality. It's not going to be something that's, you know, it's not going to be just like, hey, you know, how you doing, Hal? And, you know, oh, I'm good, Bruce. And, you know, it won't be like that. It's going to be something that you understand the difference between the two, and you understand what makes them each, you know, special in their own way. Not kind of like, you know, oh, we're all discovering, you know, we're supposed to be a team, but for the first time, I'm going to discover exactly why you fitting into this, and you know, how we can, you know, be friends. Yeah, it's just, you know, like it's too much for something like for something where you need to kind of establish really good characters. I mean, especially when you have characters that have such long histories. I mean, the DC characters, the one thing that you can, I guess, say with them is just that, I mean, a lot of them go back to, I mean, most of them go back to the Silver Age. You know, all the big main ones go back to the Golden Age. It's like you have tons of history to explore and tons that you can put on screen. So it's just like, you know, if you get the right people writing these things and directing them, there's no reason why these movies shouldn't be layups. I mean, the content is there. I mean, you literally don't even really have to think about a story. It's like, all right, look, we're gonna grab this stack of 6 comics. We're gonna figure out like what we like in this storyline, and then we're gonna go with that.
Or just you've already got scripts. Like just do the comics. You could find a storyline for any of these characters that would be easily adapted into film.
Yeah.
So
I mean, after you do an origin, just go right into one of those. You know what I mean? It's just.
But even if they do that with her, though, it can still be a flashback movie, because we've got from World War I up till she met Bruce that night dancing. Yeah. You know.
I don't know. I mean,
I mean, they would have to if they want to keep using Steve Trevor.
He's gonna get old real quick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so if they want to keep him in her, plot lines, they gotta flash back to him, or have him do like a Peggy Carter type of thing and have him like super old in bed.
Well,
super old in bed.
But then all of a sudden, his great grandson looks just like him and acts just like him.
Yeah, exactly.
He found the Lazarus Pit. He was the first, not Rage Al Ghul. He's like, oh, Lazarus Pit. I wonder what this is all about. Drink of this, chemically infused water real quick. Ooh, yeah. That's good.
It could screw with their origin. Like, I don't know. Did you guys watch Gotham? Episode?
I've only seen bits and pieces. I've never seen the whole thing.
I won't spoil it, but they kind of they fuck with Batman's origin in the story. So it's like not.
The thing that got me was that him and Selena Kyle were like
I saw the
childhood friends. That's one of the things I saw. Is like their childhood friends. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
and Ivy too.
Yeah, yeah. Selena started off as she was a hooker, and then they kind of redid her story.
Oh, I'm talking. I was like, no, dude, she's like 12.
No, not that. I'm talking about the comics.
Yeah, it's really strange. It really is. Like, I think that that's just a series where they could have focused more on the side, more on the cops in Gotham, Gordon and Harvey Bullock and all them. Like that would have been, I think, a better way to go about it. Like leave Bruce out of it. Like just make it be like, look, this is before Batman even comes into the series. I think that what they were thinking is maybe kind of trying to recreate Smallville, where it's just like but instead of making it about a full, I guess, a grown Batman and making it a straight up Batman show, they're gonna go ahead and make him as a child and kind of have all these different people just pop up in the show, and nobody's who you think they are just yet, but you know who they're going to be, and if it's such a departure from the actual stuff, it kind of takes you out of the whole story. It doesn't really make you feel like this is actually authentic.
Yeah, like for us, we're like, instead of just listening to what happens, we're like, fuck no, that's not how it happened. What are you doing? And then you get caught up in your own mind about how it actually happened. You don't watch the show. But I like the idea of just following them and just doing something different. So like, for example, like Sam and Twitch, just follow them and just have Spawn kind of be like around periodically. Yeah. And not make him the focus. Then that's a transition. So if you want to talk about it. What's up, Edwin? How you doing?
Nothing. Chilling.
Sweet.
What do you guys talking about, Spawn?
Well, we were just actually my smooth transition right over to that.
So, hey, real quick, congratulations on crossing 800 subs.
Oh, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me at least. That's a big milestone. I don't know. I know a lot of people are much bigger than I am, but
I would say that's a massive milestone.
It's a steady process.
A while to get there.
Yeah, it's a steady process.
Yeah. But, so Spawn, Todd McFarlane just put up a video, I think it was on Facebook, and he was talking about that he finally finished at least this version of the script, right? He had completed one a couple months ago, but it was way too long, right? He said it was like 180 pages.
Yeah.
And he had to cut it down to 120 pages, which is typically what Hollywood studios like, and it averages to about a page per minute. So 120 page script is right around a 2-hour movie. So he's got that done. He said he hasn't pitched it to anybody yet, but he's already gotten a ton of offers for it. or like, request to take a look at it. I think he said, I want to say he had 14 offers on it. Is what I remember the number, but
if I could touch on that for a second, one of the things I actually realized with Deadpool that I really didn't know about, and this has to do with Todd McFarlane. He said that in order for him to be able to direct the movie himself, Hollywood or whoever the producers were, they're only going to give him $60 million to like around that number to do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But my point is that I actually learned that when you have a much lower budget to do a movie like that, it actually helps. What a lot of directors try to do is focus more on the character development.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than spending all the money into the the explosions and the special effects and stuff like that. And I like that idea because you saw it with Deadpool. Like there wasn't like a whole lot of special effects, but the story development was kind of scattered throughout the film. Not to say that Todd needs to go about it with Spawn, but just the fact that you'll get more character development on Spawn, I think is a really good idea. Now, as a fan of the 90s, I didn't have a problem with the old movie. Okay. That's just me. I was like 18 when it came out, something like that.
Yeah, when it first came out, it was awesome.
yeah. But to kind of like learn from the past and what you can do better going forward and better character development, I think that there's potential here to have a much better Spawn film, in my opinion, than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, well, the first one that came out, I mean, they were, it's so funny because I remember all the stuff that they were talking about. I remember they had, I think it was like either 45-minute or half-hour special on the making of it, and I mean, everybody was so hyped about it. Like Tom McFarlane was talking, I was like, "Oh, this is great! I can't wait to put my story out there." And then, I mean, even Martin Sheen was like, "This is a great movie. My nephew loves these books. I can't wait to show him that I'm on the books." And it's just like, John Leguizamo was talking. Everybody involved was so excited for it. And at the time, I mean, special effects wise, it was probably one of the biggest, and best that you were going to get, at the time. The problem was just that the story was, pretty bad. So all the effects in the world couldn't really help the story. But I mean, for the time though, I mean, when you first saw it, I was like, oh man, like that, this is really cool. So I mean, I can only imagine what it's going to be like.
I don't know, guys. It's been like 20 years since the first Spawn came out, right?
Yeah.
So this can't just be a sequel. This is gonna have to be an origin movie again.
That's fine. I mean, let it be what it is. I mean, you can cover that real quick. I mean, with Spawn in general, like you can just, I mean, you could have it be just kind of a quick, montage of just trying to figure out, who he is. I mean, kind of like how they did with Logan, where it's like, maybe you see like the horrible thing happen to him, that he gets murdered, whatever, Al Simmons, and then he wakes up, he's Spawn, and in like a little flashback, bits and pieces, he pieces together who he is and all that type of stuff. But who knows? I mean, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be something that's really affects driven when it comes to certain things. But I think that overall it's gonna have to be a good story, because like you said, if it's low budget, if it's low budget in 60 minutes, 60 million, they're gonna have to really have some heavy storytelling to get everything going the right way. So
yeah, I think though that superhero movies these days, they have enough weight that they're attracting some really good names, some good people that they're not like having to go out and like beg like some of these A-listers. They're actually coming to the studios, and I think Spawn will fall into that, to where it doesn't necessarily have to be a massive budget, because they know if they're getting into this movie and it's good, it's going to be a cash cow, right? Chances are, if it's good, there'll be a Spawn 2, there'll be a Spawn 3, they'll get residuals from the merchandise, all the other stuff that comes out, the movies. So to get into, if you're an actor, to get into the superhero acting movies these days is a pretty good move, and that's what a lot of these people, even like Shakespearean actors, like look at Patrick Stewart. I know he was one of the first, but people like that, you would at some point have never expected to kind of be somebody shooting laser beams or whatever. But there they are, they're doing it and having fun with it.
Yeah, you know,
So
there's a lot of people that will go, and honestly, you know, if you're an up and comer and you're able to get into one of these, especially having to be like a, you know, really good movie, it's just like you said, it's a cash cow. It's you know, that sets you on a springboard for other things. Or if you're just an actor that's maybe been put in a certain specific type of movie and then you knock this out of the park, whole different genre opens up for you, different gigs, all types of different stuff. So, you know, I think that, you know, like you said, there's a lot of A-listers that hop onto these things. You know, I mean, just thinking in terms of like, you know, the old Batman movies, you had, you know, Gary Oldman come out of nowhere and was like, yeah, I want to be Commissioner Gordon. You know, I mean, there's all, you know, Patrick Stewart, like you said, there's all these like just really talented actors that want to be in these things. So, you know, let them do it. Show what they have to offer. And, you know, it's just like one of those things where, you know, if you make it good, people will come back. You know, so long as everybody kind of keeps the expectations it should be and doesn't go too crazy over the top with it, I think that you're going to see some pretty good stuff and people.
Right, but honestly, everybody, seriously, we're talking about like this is going to happen. Todd's been talking about this for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
I won't believe anything about
it. It's a big step, though.
Yeah, but
it's a milestone.
He script before for a different one and didn't go anywhere. I'm not going to really believe this until there's a studio attached and there's a press release saying we're making a Spawn movie. Because all this is Todd sitting in his office saying, "I'm finished. We're going to do it. It's great."
There's only one movie that I would say I agree with you on that, and that is the Akira live action movie, because Akira live action has had multiple studios attached, multiple actors attached, and it just never and ever is going to happen. I mean, they used to say the same thing about Watchmen, and then they ended up pulling it off. So I think that because, you know, Image doesn't really have anything in there, you know, as far as movies are concerned, you know, they'll probably do something to get this going. I mean, even if they have to help out, even if they have to, you know, however they're going to go ahead and try to get everything rolling, they'll do it.
My main concern, though, is Todd wants full creative on all of this stuff. And I understand what you said about a studio would give him $60 million, but they're still going to not let him do. They're still going to edit the crap out of it and do everything else. Like, so he may trash it before it even gets going.
Well, you know, there may be a little bit of the Alan Moore effect. You never know. And if that happens, I mean, hopefully it's something where they can, I guess, coexist. Just because if it turns ugly in the end, I mean, it's his property. It's something that he's, you know, gone ahead and made. And it would be sad to see him lose that to a studio where it's just like, you know, well, we have the rights to this now. As far as the movie is concerned, you can do whatever comic stuff you want. You know what I mean? But this movie belongs to this studio now. So sorry, we're going to make 10 of them, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, exactly. A couple of shout-outs. Great Legend, he just said something funny. The day Dolph Ziggler wins another title will be the day they make another Spawn movie.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. Yep. So that, you know, I have hopes for it. I think that, you know, with the way the landscape is for movies these days, that it's kind of, the time is right for it. It may not have been 10 years ago, you know, when we were getting like the Electras and the Daredevils of the world, you know, the Catwoman, you know, but now I've said it before, it's kind of like a golden age of superhero cinema, you know? Yeah. So I think if there is going to be a time for a Spawn movie, it's now. That's just my personal opinion. But
shout out, title shot, you'll see.
Shout out to Deadpool, like Instagram. He just got here as well. We Love Comics is here. Welcome to the show. Appreciate having you here. And also, I saw Larry LP, old LP, who is not LIVE, Rebel Comics. There he is. Yep. And Airborne Sappers here as well. So great having y'all here with us. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I didn't mean to make that interruption in
That's cool, man.
Conversation, but I got to give those acknowledgments where I can. You know, we were talking about how with some of the movies, they pull from the source material, right? Mm-hmm. But and actually, Justin, you did an interview with Rob Liefeld a while back.
Yep.
Right. It was
about
with you.
Deadpool. Yep.
Exactly. And I remember him saying in that he the script for this was not from anywhere. It was completely unique to the movie. It was not from any source material. They pulled, obviously, some of the characters. They pulled Deadpool. They pulled Bob. They had to call him Bob because, it's for a different studio. And then they pulled Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Basically gave her, who's the other girl? They gave her this other girl's powers. So she's completely different. They just used her name. So, and that worked, right? Just a completely new, script, a new plot, a new story that just nobody's ever seen before. So they could go that route as well, where, people expect, we're going to talk about it in a minute, like the Dark Phoenix. Like, we know what to expect from that, right? We know what we want from it, what we don't want from it, who we want to see. But if they make a movie that's just completely unique and on its own, we don't know what to expect. We won't know what to see. So there is still, for us as tenured comic readers, an element of surprise if they take that approach. And that's what we saw with Deadpool. And one of the things that made it work, quite frankly, was how much surprise there was there. Not so much of the laughs, but I just wanted to mention that there's that route that they could take as well. It could work. Like with the Spawn, for example, they could do something just completely 100% 180 different. Obviously, it stayed true to the character, but there is that option. So,
yeah, I mean, a Dark Phoenix movie, a Dark Phoenix standalone movie where it's just her by herself, that would be kind of tough. I mean, it'd be. I mean, to see where they go with it would be rough. But then again, to do the Dark Phoenix saga, as far as trying to be true to the comic, is kind of rough too, because it's just there's a lot of people that you get at the cast in there, and on top of that too, it was a long story. It wasn't a story that was just all right. So it's gonna be
it was 20 issues long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a saga.
And I want to say it was about 2 years. That I mean, that was a very, very slow burn. So, and I want to say too that part of what made her need to be executed was the fact that made the Shi'ar want to kill her off and everything was that she threatened the entire universe, and she I want to say
she destroyed a planet that was ruled by the Shi'ar. That's why they came after her. She left Earth and flew across the universe really fast and just kind of expunged some energy, and it destroyed a planet.
See, I was curious. I always thought, and I've read bits and pieces. I haven't read the whole thing, but I always thought that she did something to the Skrulls. So I think that she screwed them over pretty hard, or destroyed something having to do with them. And I mean,
it was like a. I remember the panels very well. It's all these people on this planet, and they're walking around a city, and then all of a sudden there's just a light in the sky, and the planet's gone. But I don't think they were Skrulls.
I wanted, because I'm curious, did she destroy a star or something like that, basically made a solar system go away, something like that? I mean, more than I do. I was always under that impression.
I don't remember I don't think it was a solar system. The main thing was just it was an inhabited planet that was destroyed within the Shi'ar Empire.
Yeah. We had a question in the chat. I just want to jump back really quickly to Spawn, and then we'll get back to it. But do you think that if there was another writer on Spawn other than Todd, would it still be going, or would it still be, as viable as it is now to where they want to make a movie?
I don't know. I mean, you have a different person working on it than Todd McFarlane. It's hard to say just because, there's what direction would they take him in? Would it still be going? That's another hard question because, I mean, you can make the argument that sales are low, even with a new writer, and maybe it's time to cancel the book if it's someone other than Todd McFarlane. But
He'll never cancel that.
Well, no, they never will because he's still in charge of it. But if it was a different writer in there and everything, and sales are low, and he didn't have quite the hold on it that he does, it's not really a open and shut question. I think I would say that if he wasn't writing it, does Spawn have a shelf life at that point? Yeah, and he has a mortality at that point where they would end up ending the book. With him still in charge, I think that it's going to go as long as Todd's there. Like if Todd ever steps away from Image or anything like that, then you'll kind of see them try to probably wind that down the minute it becomes unprofitable.
Yeah, I think that they would have no problem selling off the property or the rights for the character.
Well, I mean, what are the monthly sales? What are the monthly?
They're low.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They're like in the 21,000.
They're at a point where
like.
Marvel would have axed it already. You know,
actually, not even 40. It's probably more like in the 20 to 26,000 range.
Yeah,
exactly. But with Todd in charge, though,
Adam's picking it up.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Todd has always wanted to do another one, but because of all these comic book movies, he's been approached aggressively by people because they want properties that haven't been touched yet by Disney or Fox or Sony. So he's just been approached aggressively about his properties, not just his, but other properties in Image. So I think there's a little bit of pressure to do it because it's dude, like, I mean, think about it. Every time a comic book movie comes out, it does well for the most part. There's not too many comic book movies that just flop or fail.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, a good point. That's why I think Rob was Liefeld was approached for his Extremeverse and all that whole universe, right? Because they are reaching out for wherever they can to tap the next franchise or the next thing.
And to be honest, if you do it right, Image properties could be awesome. I mean, you're talking about no holds bar, rated R, everything, and
All right. So March 2017, we had Spawn issue 271. All right, it ranked in terms of units 151. So out of 300, kind of right in the middle there. And estimated sales units, that is, was right around 15,500.
Wow, that's low.
Yeah. That my source on that is Comic-Con, if anybody's wondering.
Yep.
Awesome source.
Yeah. But what I say with that is, though, it's one of those things where it's good to be the king. If you're in charge, you'd be like, this could sell 7 copies. We're still going to print as many as we can just to get it out there because, it's just the way it is now. It might not be, it's definitely not going to be the best selling book. It's not, I mean, something big will have to happen to get kind of the focus away from, other books like The Walking Dead and like a lot of these number ones that they keep putting out there, in order to get, the sales numbers back up. But I mean, if you're going to look at, in terms of, like Justin was saying, like, Marvel would have axed it already and moved on. I mean, is Spawn's time over? Maybe. I mean, you're looking at a very old character. What can they do to, freshen that character up?
Make a movie?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's what's going to breathe new life into it because it's just like, I'm going to go back and get these. I mean, because if you look at even though he's been around for 20 years or whatever, or more, he's still not a character that, I mean, it was just so in March he was up to 271. It's not something that you can't go back and collect. It's not something that's so deep that you'd be like, wow, like I don't even know where to start with this. Like literally, you can go back and get a lot of his issues, and pretty much see the whole story. It's not like something where it's just like, oh, Fantastic Four has been around for, by the time that they were around for 20 years, I mean, they were already up to about 400 issue.
Yeah. It's one of the longest running, right? Between that and Savage Dragon, is it?
Savage Dragon. That's why he's not going to stop. He's definitely going to go to 301 because he's talked about that in the past about the highest independent comic book ever went up to like 300. So
yeah.
But then again, you go back to like, is Image really independent?
I think so.
At this point,
I mean,
I call they were independent when they started, though.
I call them the big three now.
The big
exactly.
I mean, they only have 8.5 to 10% of the market. I mean, that's pretty low in my opinion.
Well, compared to the other companies that have like less than 1%.
Yeah.
What's your definition of independent, though?
Like Albatross is not pulling big numbers.
Yeah.
So
with their 2 books a month.
Yep. That's just the way it is, man. It's just
I mean, yeah, like how do we define independent? Are we just saying it's independent because it's not the big 2? Or is there like a sales criteria or something we need to make for that? Let us know in the comments, everybody. What's the criteria?
What defines independent?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these companies are big enough that they're not. I mean, Boom and IDW also have like movie deals starting up and things like that. Valiant does. Is Valiant really independent with the influx of money they got when they relaunched? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's something we got to think about. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was one thing I was, I was actually pleasantly surprised by. Valiant's getting some pretty good writers and artists. Like I mean, just like you said, that influx of money. They're making a push to try to be bigger than they ever were and trying to be viable in the market. So, Valiant's someone to watch out for. And it's one of those things I never thought I would actually ever say, because I own a bunch of those old Valiant books. And it's just like, some of the art was kind of, just really sad. And there was just other things about them that weren't that great. But I mean, it's just like, there's a lot of people that, I mean, there's like Joe Quesada worked on them, back in the day. Same thing
Jim
with
Shooter, all the big time people.
Yeah, same with Jimmy Palmiotti worked on a bunch of those books too. And it's just like, a lot of people that you had now that are like, bigwigs were people that worked on, Valiant back in the day. And now they're kind of crossing over and getting some talent that is working on books, with Marvel and stuff like that. So, they're more, they're I think a bigger option now than they were before. And, it remains to be seen what happens next, because, if their movie universe takes off to now, you could be talking about, Valiant as, the third big player in there, and maybe Image takes a step down until they get their movie universe going. So, this movie universe seems to be a big, a really big stepping stone onto, greater and better things.
Because there's millions of stories, good stories that you can tell instead of rehashing the same stuff all the time.
Yep.
Exactly.
Shout out to the great legend. I agree with him. 22 people watching. Can we get some thumbs up, please, everybody?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah. We always like that, showing us the love, gives us the motivation to keep going. So,
right.
But we were talking about the Dark Phoenix briefly, right, in the movie.
Yep.
So there have been some auditions that have kind of, I don't know if
are they recasting Jean?
They're recasting. Apparently, they're recasting, and it's just speculative. But Rogue. So Anna Paquin might not be coming back.
Good.
This
makes
lady
sense.
Alexa, her character, and they just used like sort of pen names. It said Marie, so that led people to believe, well, that might be Rogue. Her name. Oh shit! What was her name? Tell me. Somebody help me.
Rogue's name?
Yeah.
It's
Anna Marie.
Name is like Anna Marie.
Yeah, Anna Marie.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of those that have come out where people were like reading for the different roles for the movie. So.
Well, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see, see that happen. And I know, you kind of have to recast Rogue in that way, just because Anna Paquin is what, mid-30s now? I mean, she's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but she's definitely not, if they're gonna stick with was it Sophie Turner, Sansa Stark?
Yep.
Yeah.
However you know her as, if you're gonna stick with her, as being Jean Grey, you have to go a little younger. You can't do it as much as everyone loves Anna Paquin. She's kind of aged out of this role if you're going to go with a young group.
It would be weird to see. Yeah, it would be weird to see Rogue older than Jean Grey. Yeah, not counting all new X-Men crap that's going on, but that would be weird. Like in everybody's mind, I think they're the same age or Rogue's younger. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the thing is, if Rogue's not going to have a significant role, you can honestly just throw anybody in there.
True.
Yeah.
They could do it like Jubilee and hype it up and then not show her.
Exactly.
And have her
or even Psylocke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy, right? With Jubilee, like they had the whole, like they even had like a fake commercial, right? Like early '90s style commercial, and like
her comic shot up, man.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut or something. Yeah.
She was awesome. I mean, that's another really good character that they should have. I mean, hopefully. Maybe they put her in the Dark Phoenix saga. I mean, if they're gonna have, because I don't even know if Rogue was part of the X-Men when that was actually happening, the Dark Phoenix saga. So it's just like if they catch Rogue, I want to say that
no, she wasn't.
Yeah, so Jubilee should be in there as well. Then I guess if you're gonna go with youth movement and put a few other newer people in there. I mean, you're gonna have probably the young Cyclops. They're gonna have to do something. Some Wolverine's gonna have to show up because Wolverine was a big part of that story.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have a Colossus in there. I mean, basically the old team and then a few new faces to kind of round it out. Maybe not the exact old team, but something to kind of at least give us a little bit of a semblance of what the comic was.
Speaking of which, I was at my LCS today and I was doing the pull list for everybody, and I seen all these Jean Grey #1s.
Yeah.
And so like we go down and we try to figure out, like, I say how many subscribers are getting these so I can set to the side for them, and she was like, nobody. I'm like, well, then why do we got so many?
Yeah.
And because the #1, my LCS just kind of stocks up, I guess, on the #1. But is anybody else going to get Jean Grey #1?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Some of these characters, man, I know there's a big push on the X-Men, but some of them just don't need their own.
They're pushing
Exactly.
the wrong characters. They're
Right,
pushing
yeah.
the younger X-Men. It's the younger X-Men that are getting the solo books, So
Did you guys? We even had the they did the reboot, the True Believers of, what was that, Uncanny 281.
Yeah.
Dude, we still got like 3 left on the shelf, even for $1. Because even the regular first print, they're like in the dollar bins
Right.
all day.
Yeah. A lot of it is, with the variants and the incentives, like, the shop has to buy 250% of like this book to qualify for this book. So they have like way more of this other book, than they would ever want or they could sell, just so they can, unlock the variant that they'll sell for, a little bit more. But I mean, that leaves them with a bunch of extra copies laying around. And yes, it takes up the shelf space, which is, I guess, part of the Marvel strategy, right? But at the same time, it leaves the store with a whole bunch of stock that they can't move.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still seeing that Walking Dead 25-cent issue in my store.
Mhm.
That's never
Yeah.
gonna, like, literally, they're gonna have to stop throwing them at people as they leave.
well,
I bet
that's the
you you're
thing.
going to see them giving out on Saturday. Free comic book day. You're going to
Yep.
be getting some of
Stuff
them.
in their
Oh,
bag.
yeah.
They didn't even ask for it.
Exactly, but like,
Exactly,
it's
right.
gonna be the one book that you didn't ask for that's in there. It's just like, I have 2 or 3 of these because it's just take them, because there's so many of those out there, and yeah. I mean, when I saw that, I was just like, really, 281? You're gonna make that a True Believer edition?
I know, right?
It's just like, I mean, if you want, yeah, I guess, but I mean,
Well, Marvel and Image are going crazy with their Image First True Believer issues. They're just like,
But they're doing
a book
the
came out
Image
3
First.
months ago. We need an Image First for it. You
Yeah,
know?
like Image First, 7 to Eternity. I'm like, really? Like,
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
We're on issue 5. But hey, whatever makes people happy.
Exactly.
I mean, I was kind of bummed I didn't get the Giant Size X-Men or the X-Men #1, because, and I mean, with good reason. Like, those sold out right away because people are like, oh, I can actually own X-Men #1 even if it's a reprint. Yeah, let's do it. Giant Size X-Men #1. Yeah, absolutely. But
People flap those and put them on eBay.
Yeah,
You're like, what are you trying to sell?
Uncanny X-Men 281. Yeah, no. Sorry, not for $1. Like, it's just like, I got I got the copy that I have. The fresh print of it for $1, I think. So it's just like,
And it's awesome. Wells Portaccio art.
yeah. I mean, it's really good art. It's really, really just fun. It's a good read and a fun book, but it's just like, just that doesn't need a True Believer. Like, I mean, there's so many. Like, how about something that's a little bit more obscure, like Tomb of Dracula #10, the first Blade? I would love to have.
Yeah.
that.
I was thinking Uncanny 266 First Gambit. That'd have been a good.
Like exactly. First Gambit. Put in some first appearances, some actual legit characters. I know why they did it. It was because X-Men Gold Team and X-Men Blue Team. That's why they did it. And it's just like, the True Believer edition shouldn't have to line up to what's being sold on the shelves. You put them out there just because they're books that people haven't seen. It's just like, oh, like, you know what? I never got to own the first appearance of Moon Knight. Well, here you go. Here's the first appearance of Moon Knight. Check it out. It's pretty cool. First appearance of the Punisher. Here you are. Like, I mean,
Romero says first Sabretooth. That would definitely be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes that kind of crazy is that, something like the first, like, outside of like the Milestone edition, which even that I think is what, 90s maybe that came out. I mean, it's been a long time since they reprinted that book.
Yes.
There's a lot of books that they haven't reprinted in a long time. It's just like, you know what? If you have the ability to do so, why not? Just reprint it. I'm not saying every single year, but just reprint a couple every year that makes some sense. Just like the big books that people would want to have. I mean, that way, I guess if you're
Marvel's proven to not care about what you want.
Oh no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that if you're gonna go with that, and it's just like that way, if they want to, I guess, not worry so much about the secondary market of people selling those books for tons of money and this and that, where it's just like that'll take some of the market away. Where it's just like, okay, I can get a reprint of this book. I at least can have the story. So if I want to read it one day, I can actually read it and not have to worry about damaging the book because it's a reprint no one cares about. That's fine. If everybody can say that they have the book, then there's no reason to, for people to want to, kill, to get that book left and right. Like,
the other part of it too is, sure you might have the Giant Size X-Men #1 or, the X-Men #1 or, whatever it is, and it may be in a slab and you don't want to crack it open. So with these, it's a good way to be able to still access the story that you've encapsulated and not have to, touch it or anything. So
exactly. Like, and I think that's a big deal. I think that's something that, they should consider. But, like Justin said, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know what, we want to sell more of this book that's on the shelf. So we'll give you this thing and this one here, and that's it. I think that when they first had done it, it was just one of those things where we're just going to give you, it was more along the idea of that we'll give you just a reprint that you haven't seen before. Mm-hmm. Give people a chance to own a book that maybe they can't afford. But now it's, back to that whole thing of, they're just trying to make money off a certain group of books at a time. And, I guess if you really want to have the book and you can't afford it specifically for the real price, go on to that digital thing and get the book that way.
Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, Marvel Unlimited. We'll go ahead and do that.
Exactly.
I mean, if you just want to go read some stuff, it's the way to go. So.
Yeah, exactly. Since we're talking about the books, just might as well transition into some of the stuff we're going to be picking up and looking forward to. I have a couple sort of spec picks I want to tell you guys about, hot books or things maybe to look for. But there's been a little bit of a change for Batman 22 that comes out tomorrow.
How dare they change it?
It's also going to be, what's his name? Josh Williamson, right? So what Tom King said was, my job is to tell a good story. Doesn't matter how, but, I'm the writer. The story needs to be good. So he's like, well, Josh has been doing a good job. He did such a great job on the other issue there with Flash 21. I'm going to step back and I'm going to let him tell this whole story and have it be more consistent that way. So he's going to be on that. And then what was the other thing I was going to mention to you guys? So for the Flash 22, it was pushed back a week. So that's now going to be May 17th.
So we get a week. We get a week break before the finale of the book.
Exactly. So then we get 22 tomorrow, and then Flash 22 at the end of towards the end of the month instead of later on. So and that reason was to allow him to write that story. So that was a little bit of a change up there. But
no, that's cool.
Yeah, wanted to briefly mention that.
After this week, that gives us an extra week to speculate.
Yeah, exactly.
Who it is, really, and where he is, and who else is trapped with Tim. Save Tim! Save Tim!
Who did he mean by the god he saw, right? We all know who that is.
I really am looking forward to when Batman finds out that Tim Drake is still alive, and the anger which then goes through him,
Yeah. And why was Reverse Flash a pile of bones?
Yeah. Because he saw God.
Yep. Dr. Manhattan zapped him.
Yeah. All right. So talk to me. What books are you looking forward to tomorrow? What are you excited for? Anything you've heard a lot of chatter about?
Didn't you have another speculator pick there, Jesse?
Oh, you want me to go through mine first?
Yeah.
I was just saying, you might as well. You started with that. We need to know what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, the first one I'm going to tell you about is Pestilence #1 through Aftershock Comics. There's a bunch of different covers for it. The premise for that sounds, pretty cool. There's like the Comic Mint, for example, has a exclusive cover that is pretty much sold out at this point and pretty hot. I know a lot of people were looking forward to that, so check out that. I don't have the previews up. I usually do. I was going to tell you what the solicit said for it, but that's Pestilence #1. Okay, Aftershock Comics. Another one to be looking forward to maybe would be one that I told you about. Who was I telling about? I told it to Trinity, I think. Was it? Yeah, I told it to Trinity on Blasted or Stashed It on Friday. Stained #1. It's a book coming out through, I don't remember who, but there's a cover B that's done by Jock. So I know a lot of people were looking forward to that. A lot of fans of Jock. So I think that sold out on Midtown already. Another one is Black Bolt #1 is coming out. There's a really great cover. There's actually a couple of them. One is a Jack Kirby cover. It's like the 100th anniversary cover, and it's a Jack Kirby thing. And then there's another one by Paul Pope that is phenomenal. Check that out if you want to see that. The Old Guard, right? The issue 1 is getting a 3rd print.
Wow.
Issue 2 is getting a 2nd print
Like,
already. Yeah, already. And then the other one that I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about, it's just a cover B. It's not any type of incentive. It's just 1-for-1, is Superman 22. The cover B is by Tony S. Daniels, and it's got
Great artist.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover. Jonathan Kent, like with his eyes like all red. He's like looking like he's gonna throw down. Yeah, badass cover. I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of a good cover, and I think a lot of people are gonna be, if they know about it, want it, or when they see it on the shelf, scooping that up. So that might be one to look for. And again, that's just a 1-to-1, so it's just gonna be your cover price on that. And there was another one I was gonna mention. The other one I was going to mention, I guess that's it. Those are the ones I wanted to mention for you. I know there's a bunch of others we can talk about, but, especially that Pestilence #1. I think that's going to be the one to go for this week.
Yeah, I went and read the synopsis of that, and it actually sounds really good. The preview art looks really good. I mean, I would say everybody check out Aftershock. Check out their website, and just check that book out if you haven't already. It looks really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I know we were talking about Youngblood.
Youngblood!
Yeah, that's
I'll probably get that.
There's a bunch of covers for that.
Support them.
Yeah.
Cover 3. Everybody, cover 3.
David Finch.
David Finch, and it's the swipe of the original cover. So that's the one to get.
Yep. There's also one, I mentioned it before, but the Comic Mint variant. It's a Kirby homage from a splash page that he did. Hey, splash page in the 70s.
And then one of the covers is of what the new book's going to be about. But who cares about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I agree with Gomez. You also got Bane.
Conquest
#1 coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 12-issue series.
He's a safe bet. Don't always like spec on the villains, but some of those like the Batman ones, Bane especially.
That to me is a trade.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up single issues of a Bane.
Yeah.
I'll read it in trade form later.
What about what did you mention the other Image Eternal Empire #1?
For which one?
It's an Image #1 for a Spec.
Yeah. There you go. I didn't mention that, but yeah. I didn't mention that. But that's a good, it's tough. Like, say, take Vault Comics, right? They just had Heathen #1, right? And that was that took off. That's really popular. It still is. But then people are doing is they see the #1, so they'll go out and they'll buy all the other #1s from Vault, and that's what's happening. And those aren't gonna necessarily take off,
right?
But,
what was that other book? Colossi or
Colossi? Yeah.
Yeah, they had 3 or 4 all of a sudden that they came out with.
There was there's Colossi. There's another one about it's about heroes. It's like a superhero team, but they're not they're kind of like a joke superhero team. And then there was another one that had I don't know, it might have been Colossi, it might have been a different one. I thought it was more of a kind of like guns and bullets and type book, and it had really really nice art. That's the one thing I like that drew my eye to it. Like I think Colossi had some really nice art as well. I passed on it just because I was like, I can't buy everything. That's just not the way it works. But but yeah, Heathen is a good book. Heathen has a really good story.
Yeah,
that's what I would absolutely recommend for people. If you can't afford it and you have to get a trade of it, maybe at the time, after the issues all come out, to put a trade together, pick it up because it's a really, really good story. Really interesting, take on Norse mythology and everything like that.
Here's my question for the chat. I have 3 brand new Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 1s coming out this week.
Yep. Yeah.
3. I understand. Is anybody going to buy any of them?
And one of them is $3.99 and another is $4.99.
So I actually have a confession. Well, not a confession. I'm happy I did it. I have no regrets.
They subscribed to 2-year membership.
No, I bought Guardians from KRS Comics. There's a really amazing artist. Her name is Natalie Sanders. She's a phenomenal artist. She's done some really check her out. She's on Instagram and stuff. Actually, one of my favorite X-23 commissions that I've pretty much ever seen was done by her. But she did a cover exclusive for KRS that just knocked it out of the park with it. It was her first kind of like big 2, I guess, cover. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, you know what? I don't know about the story, if I'm going to stick with it, but I want that for that cover. And I do that all the time. I'm guilty of that. But yeah, so I guess that's my long way of saying I'm going to end up with the Guardians number 1.
Yeah. Now see.
Well, a special thing like that, that's different. But I'm saying, and it looks like the chat is also basically saying no. I think Jason's going to get it. He's just going to get the main ongoing series, but not the 2 other ones that come out. So
see, that's not even the bad thing though. See, now you sit there and say, well, there's 3 Guardians books coming out, and that's excessive. What about all the Secret Empire variants? I think that, it's one of 9 books. One of 9 in the series. I think there's 9 variants coming out. That's just being sold by stores, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that are real exclusives that you had to order at another time. But a lot of variants coming out with that book. I mean, I want to follow the story. I want to see where it goes, but it's a lot. And this is all pre tie-ins and stuff like that. Like I'm only sticking with the main story if I do go through the whole run. I just hope that, for me, I would hope that the artwork improves a little bit, just because I wasn't a big fan of how everything changed from the the flashback sequence into the modern sequence. It was just it was too jarring. Like the flashback art was beautiful. The main sequence was just, it was such a step down. It was just like,
You're talking about Secret Empire 1?
Secret Empire 0.
Yep.
Secret Empire.
I think it's a different artist for 1.
I think so too, and I'm hoping so, just because for me, it was just, that transition was just so jarring, where it's just you have, almost Alex Ross stuff, where it's just hand painted and really nice, and then you get this other stuff that's just kind of it's drawn, but it's not drawn great, and it's just kind of it absolutely, I lost immersion as soon as I flipped over to that next page. I was like, oh, this. I'm reading the story, but I'm not as into it as I was when I first opened the book.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid for this, but I want you to see this thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Hang on.
Ooh.
Present to
That's
everyone.
nice.
There we go. Okay. So this is it. Guardians number 1, KRS. Just look at the detail, and it's photorealistic and really, really cool. Colors pop. Just awesome all around cover.
Is that a Virgin cover as well?
She will not be a no, I'm just kidding. There's a color version set. There's color only, version only, or you can get it a set signed. So you have a few different options there. But this one right here, this is a Virgin on the right hand side, and then the left is with the trade dressing.
Nice.
It was a nice cover.
Yeah. So that's, I'm telling you guys, sometimes I just see a cover and I'm like, I know I got to get it right there. No question about it. That was one of them. All right.
I think Alex is saying that Alex the Comic Quarter, I think he ordered that also.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Jenkins is a hoarder.
Oh,
Let's see what you did there. Yeah.
I'm jealous. That's a really cool looking cover.
Yeah. Injustice 2 #1, Marky's getting that, and that does come out tomorrow. I know that first.
A lot of people were really excited for that book. I missed that series.
Yeah, the first issue of the first Injustice is doing pretty good, on the secondary market. So
yeah, I'm actually upset with myself for not buying it because I was like, oh, a movie, a comic about a video game. I mean, what's the point? I'll just play the game, and I guess like it was really, really good. It's kind of like just a really awesomely done Elseworld story where it's just like you have a lot more grit and a lot more just really hard-hitting storytelling, just because it's not your average universe. So there's a lot of things that happen. I guess a lot of characters end up dying in it too. It's just really, really cool stuff. And so I fell off, and I didn't have a chance to get it. So I think I might jump onto this one in anticipation of the game, and just to be able to read to see if they keep that momentum going into this next volume.
Or did they say that this was going to be the end? Because wasn't year 5 going to be the end? But then now they've gone to 2.
Well, year 5 is the end of the
Gods and Monsters.
Justice 2. We got years ahead of us. Years.
Yeah. I know Secret Empire #1 comes out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tim said something, actually. Lords of the Long Box, excuse me. He said something a little bit earlier in the chat where Marvel actually came out and told people to be patient with Hydra Cap.
I wanted to make a comment about that. I remember that.
Yeah. They made a press release, a statement to ABC News, or the website, and basically that's what they said was, we hear you, we know what you want and who your Captain America is. Just be patient. Yeah. At the end of the day, you'll see it's all going to be fine. That's basically what they said.
And that makes me a little apprehensive about going for the whole series, because the fact is they know that people are that pissed off that they have to basically give away the end and say he's gonna go back to being the good guy that you wanted. So, don't worry. So it's just like, well, then why the fuck do I gotta buy all these issues for if I know he's gonna go back? But they basically made it seem as though he doesn't go back because he fights his way through. Like something happens where through his grit and determination and so I guess he could probably break free of the mind control. I don't know.
I still think that Miles is going to kill him, like we just saw.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was a flash to the future from Ulysses or whatever. It was Miles killed him, and Washington was in ruins, and Hydra was everywhere, and that's what we're marching towards. So I say they kill him, and then Franklin brings him back.
I don't know. I looked at it and I was just like, wow. So they it's not so much the fact that they made him evil and he's brainwashed, and that's it. It's just like they're just like, yeah, you know what? With this book, he's always been evil, and the whole fact that he was a hero for all that time, like that was when he was brainwashed. Like he was never a good person ever, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, I mean, they did their best to push the buttons that they could to make people upset with it, but it's just one of those things where I hope it plays out in a good way. I hope it plays out and it's a good story all the way through. But if it ends up being something where it's just like, just not a really good payoff for, really just, a big amount of hype, I'm not going to be too happy. But the only thing that you can take solace in is the fact that it's the, I guess, last big event for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, was it 18 months they're going to stay away from events?
Allegedly. That's what they're saying now. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah, so what was I going to say? Shit. I just had a thought in my head and it went out like that. That happens to me all the time. Damn it. I forgot what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
It left me.
Stuff.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, I remember. So I guess a lot of people are just kind of wanting this to just like basically hurry up and be done so we can get past it and move on to whatever is,
Legacy. Everybody's like legacy. Let's get to legacy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what that is.
It's gonna be everything that we want it to be. Like, cause I've seen the things, and like I guess legacy is all the so you have the regular continuity Wolverine in a
That's
book
Generations.
with
That's
Laura.
Generations. That's Generations. That's
Oh,
Generations.
okay.
And it's just gonna be like one shots and stuff. So blah.
Okay. All right. See, yeah, because that confused me. I was just like, all right, so Jane Foster and regular Thor, and they're throwing their hammers together. And it's gonna be, I was just like, oh, goody.
Yeah.
But yeah, Legacy. So everybody, the renumbering and bringing everything back, and then potentially what everyone is speculating on is the Fantastic Four come home. So hey, if that's what happens, I would love to see it, just because I think that Marvel has kind of proved their point that they can make books without the Fantastic Four, but you know what? That experiment's over. Time to bring them back. They're one of the staples of the company. You can't have them away forever. It's been too long.
Yeah, I hope he comes back and resets Kobik.
I hope so.
If he can create a universe, he can reset Kobik.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just push a button.
He'd be like, oh, because that's what you remember she did. Like, she was like Cap and like, oh, you're broken. Let me fix you. Franklin comes back. He's like, oh, you're broken. Let me fix you.
Like, turn back into a cube.
Right? You're supposed to be an inanimate object.
Yeah.
And then he just slaps the Red Skull.
Yeah.
He slaps Professor X's brain out of him.
And right back. Yeah, that's right. Professor X needs his brain back.
He's still got.
I forgot about that. Now that you said that, like
He's still got it. He's just not using the power because he wants people to follow him because they want to follow him.
So now he has low self-esteem.
Yeah,
no, I want you to want to do this, okay? You don't want to do this, and I don't want you here.
Yeah, you have to willingly kill yourself for me. What?
Well, I'm not going to do it. So you can make me walk off to this ledge, or let me go. I can't let you go, but I mean, it would really be nice if you just walk off and let me know that you truly do have, that I have control over you, but I don't have to really control you. It's just like, yeah, no.
Exactly.
What a dumb man.
Marky said it's going to be Legacy 2.0 in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get like all new Legacy now.
As much as I want to disagree with them, honestly, like
it's gonna be like
I feel like Legacy is gonna be the first initial titles and everything's gonna be cool, and then all of a sudden they're gonna reboot it all, and just like so all that shit that just happened before gone again, and we're gonna start from number 1, but it's 937, but it's still number 1 from this point forward.
Yeah, they may do that where they have both numbers on the covers for a while, like they did in the past. So
yeah, those are the grayed out number, and then
So that'd be fun. I mean, I understand both sides. People upset about the numbering, but I like the bigger numbers.
And that's the thing that kills me. I was like, well, but the bigger numbers, I don't know where to start. If I've never collected it, I feel intimidated. Why? Like literally, if you, that's where your local shop owner should help you out and be like, all right, so a big major storyline just ended. They're starting a brand new one in the next issue. Pick up that one if you want to have a fresh starting point and go from there.
Well, and I think Marvel was doing a good job with those like red dot or those red boxes
that jumping on point thing.
The starts now type thing for the story arcs. I think that's a really good marketing tool, and they should keep that. That helps people tremendously when they're walking into a shop.
Yeah, exactly. Quick interruption. I showed that Natalie Sanders cover. Lords of the Long Box has a code you can use if you want that book or you want to check out some of the others. It's for 20. It's just for the KRS exclusive. So there's that one section on the site. It's 20% off on those. There are some really awesome ones there. I've ordered from them enough times, so I vouch for it. You'll have a good experience with ordering, shipping, all that. But the code is LOTLB. It should be ready in about 30 minutes, and it's good until midnight PST, Pacific Standard Time. So if you want that or one of those, definitely jump on that. So I appreciate that, brother. Good looking out.
So Jesse, what you got to do is you got to return that now and get that 20% off.
No.
Like, here you go.
I already used one of his other codes and I got 10, and I'm happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that money funds future endeavors.
Exactly.
Right. So if I think that she's gonna work with them again, or I like her, whatever little extra money he made for me, will go towards another venture, hopefully with her. So think of it as an investment in a future purchase. I'll think of it that way.
But yeah, Tim, thank you for that hookup, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Everybody go buy stuff in 30 minutes.
Exactly right. All right.
All of a sudden, their website crashes.
Right. I mean,
I don't think we have that many viewers.
It's
going to be another Ask for Comics experience where they fucking think.
You don't know, like someone could pirate our channel and then all of a sudden stream it out to the millions and millions.
It would be Jose.
Or bigger than you think.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish that would be amazing.
But yeah, I actually looked at that. Comically Flawed showed me the KRS website yesterday. I think it was, or one night when I was talking to him. And yeah, I didn't even know they existed. I was like, this is cool. They got all kinds of stuff on there.
Yeah, no, it's great. And good guy too. And he's, part of, I think he's really big on Instagram. So, you can check out a gallery there, kind of peruse a little bit that way as well. And I've put some stuff up, tagged him, likes it, you know what I mean? So very interactive and kind of like, works with people that way. So that's really cool seeing like the venues that are interactive with the customers and are just like right in there with the rest of us. So
right.
Yeah. But I actually wanted to do one more thing. Spidey fan, he's one of the YouTubers. I think he's in the chat right now. Say hi if you are Spidey fan. But he has a contest. Yeah, he has a contest. Him and a couple other guys, and it is related to Free Comic Book Day. So go over to his page. He made an announcement for it. Basically, you go to your shop. It's the whole idea behind it is to support the shop, right? Get out there, participate, be part of that community, like you're outside of the digital world community, support the shop, and come back and kind of like do a video about the shop, the experience. And there he is. Okay, so check that out. And then I think in a week, next Tuesday perhaps, there's going to be the announcement for the winner. So I just wanted to give that shout out for him. Hopefully people will go over to his channel. He's in the chat right now, so I believe you can click on his name, and that will take you right over to the channel, and you can check that out when we're done here. That should be good. I look forward to seeing who the winners are, and the announcement hopefully will be made somewhere that we all recognize. So that should be coming up. The other thing I wanted to mention is for the website comicbooks.com. Justin does there you go, right there on his shirt. He does the new comic list. He puts it up every Monday. So if you need a list to take to your shop, or yep, exactly. He said it. I didn't know if you wanted that as a surprise or not, so I didn't say it. But he's actually going to come on, or him and a couple of them are going to come on here next week and announce the winner from his contest.
Nice.
Okay, so it'll be Spidey fan. So we'll be able to find out that way. Hopefully it's not me that wins, because I don't want it to seem like it's rigged. You know what I mean, right? But I lost my train of thought. There I go, being old again. For the website. So he does the new comic list. So check that out. And also, we're definitely looking for some people to write. I try to keep up with all the news. There's a hell of a lot of it, as you can tell from this show alone. We have so much to talk about every week. So if you are interested in writing, if you think that you might be good at it, reach out to one of us. We can definitely, talk about what that process looks like to get you started. And, if we can talk about what's entailed, what we're looking for, anything like that. So I'm looking for writers, whatever it is. I do the breaking news aspect of it. But if you want to do, the indies, if you want to do reviews, there's a whole.
If you just want to do, if you do videos and want to do a video about a review, we can work with you. Just let us know.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some other perks, that might come along with it. No guarantees there, but we can talk about what those
you get
are,
an email address.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a perk right there.
You might potentially get a T-shirt
along with the other 5 that you got.
Hey,
yeah, exactly.
This one has, at comicbook.com. You're official at that point in the comic book world. When you have
if there's a T-shirt involved, I'm in.
I mean, we can make that happen probably.
We have a T-shirt cannon. We'll just shoot them out at the crowd. So I wanted to make that announcement. I also want to say, check out, since we're talking about Justin here, check out his channel Sunday morning. He's got episode 3 coming up, right? You're going on episode 3?
Yes, sir.
Right on.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a good show. Yeah, exactly. Lords actually wrote something for us as a guest writer.
Nice.
So he is published there as well. So he's part of the gang. And Sunday, I'm going to leave it to Edwin to take this part. But Sunday, you got something coming up you want to share?
Yeah, I'm just giving it a test run. I'm going to try my first live online auction via YouTube, but somehow, some way, I'm going to allow people on Instagram to participate as well. Kind of like how some of those auction places have done it. But yeah, I got a lot of good stuff, man, in my opinion. I mean, I call it the affordable auction because I don't think I really have anything over $100. It's all stuff that's like in your 10, 15, 20, maybe 40, $60 range. I think I might have like 3 to 5 books that I expect to be in the $100 range. But other than that, it's pretty affordable. And nothing major. Like you're not going to find a New Mutants 98, anything like that over there. But some minor keys. I got a first appearance of the New Mutants Marvel graphic novel. Got a couple slabs, so definitely check that out. It'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern this Sunday, May the 7th, over at StrictlyComix YouTube channel and Instagram. So I hope people will check it out because I'll be having some giveaways too, free giveaways.
Sunday. StrictlyComix.
Yeah, so check it out. Absolutely. Cool. Any announcements you want to make, Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to be putting up a couple of videos probably tomorrow. Like I said, I have received in the mail one of my top 10 books, and also to do my haul for the last 2 weeks. Just want to shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with us and keeping us on our toes, giving us information that we don't have initially, and just coming out and having some fun. Just with that, I mean, it's always fun to be on the show. It's always fun to hang out with the panel and hang out with all you guys. So as always, thanks for having me. And yeah, check me out. I'll have those videos up, and be looking forward to new comic book day and free comic book day down the road. And at some point, whether it be Thursday or some point this weekend, I'm gonna see Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's gonna be a pretty fun-filled week, going forward for me. We're only in Tuesday, but so much going on, from now until basically Sunday. So check us out, have some fun.
That's right on. All right, cool. So I guess that's gonna do it for tonight. I'm gonna say just keep digging it. Nope, that's taken. I can't say that. But I will say, get out of your man cave this weekend. Go to your shop, participate in free comic book day, get the free books. But try to buy something too, give back to them. I know the books are free, but there's a lot of costs involved and, kind of putting on one of those events. So, take but give back too. And at the end of the day, what we always say at the end of the show, collect what you love and you can't go wrong with that. All right, guys, that'll do it. Episode 39, Comic Conversation. See you next Tuesday, guys. Peace.
Have a good one.
Have a great week, everybody.